The Teen Phantom Part 33 in audio. Your name is Ben, isn't it? Yes, it is Ben Mason. You don't know my real problem. I actually don't need to know what you think your problems are. I do not accept there being such a thing as problems. It is all in the imagination of your mind. When we are honest with ourselves, what we think our problems evaporate. Charlotte takes Ben's hand and they walk around to where Sarah is. She takes his other hand and she looks into his face. I am Sasha Charlotte Chapman. Most people call me Charlotte. This little girl with me is Sarah May Chapman. I am pleased to meet you, Ben. My mother can make you very happy if you will let her. Ben just stares at Sarah for a few seconds, then says, I am pleased to meet you too, Sarah. It seems you have great confidence in your mother, Sarah. I do, Ben. Charlotte, this is love. I am up the trail a little distance. If you will send Sarah up, I will entertain her while you talk to Ben. I will see that she gets back to school. I have let Ben's parents know that he is safe. Do not worry. Charlotte's mind drifts back to those little roaring lion heads in little Love's ears. Love seems to know very much about Charlotte's life. She must have secret contact with Mello also. Sarah, I would like for you to go on up the trail. You will find one of my best friends. She is about your age and you will love her. Okay, mother, and she scurries up the trail. Ben looks at Charlotte. He is very shocked and then concerned. You really have a little girl? How old is she? She is almost 7. I don't see how that can be possible. Sarah's parents are deceased. Sarah is determined that I am her mother, my sister, and I have raised her from 3 weeks old. I could not love a child that I had brought it to this world any more than I love her. That is really neat, Charlotte. Ben had been without much expression until Sarah said, okay, mother. Then he looks at Charlotte very attentively as she tell him about Sarah and her parents. Let's walk on up the trail. There is a log there which is the right height to sit on as a bench. Okay. Your mother knows you are safe, so don't fret. He turns to Charlotte with a look of doubt. How is that possible? We little girls have our ways. We are not angels though. You call yourself a little girl? Well, maybe I shouldn't. I am a little small for my age. I am 12 years old, almost 13. You are the most interesting girl I have ever met. I don't see you as a 12-year-old though. You seem more my age. Your hands seem like a little girl though. You certainly have a sweet personality. You are very honest and straightforward, but you are not at all rude. Charlotte, stop. She takes Ben's other hand and looks up into his face. Now, look closely. Do you really think I look as old as you? Ben looks miserable. He closes his eyes. I hope this does not upset you. You talk as if you have not even seen me. Most thinks I look to be a 10-year-old. Ben's eyes fill with tears. Oh Ben, what happened to have upset you so? Don't think of it as a problem. Just be honest with me about your past. I think you are right, but I just cannot get it out of my thoughts. You must, Ben. It is the only way you can make your problem fantasy vanish, and then you can construct yourself a wonderful new life. Okay, the reason I don't see you as others do, I am blind. Get it out of my mind. How can it not be a problem? But you are not blind. You see very well. Your eyes just do not work. You certainly do sound like a 10-year-old. I am not blind. My eyes just don't work. Where did you get an idea like that? It is not just an idea, it is positive thinking. Would you listen to my explanation? I will listen. You mean, well, you are just a little ignorant. Our eyes just sends a message to our brain does the seeing. That is why you know what kind of a person I am. You know me very well. You also know that I love you very much. Your eyes do not need to work for you to see all of that. That all makes sense. You are right about the brain doing the seeing, but I cannot have a life without my eyes working. How could you know? You have not even tried. Like I have told you, do not think about you having a problem. I do not see you as the sort that gives up without giving it all you have. I can see your kind but determined spirit. Great success is in your destiny, you must reach for it, it is there waiting for you. Ben, is it looks or personality that you remember best? Ben meditates for a long time, then he speaks. It is personality, it is better than seeing, it is like the forest, I can feel it. I feel you by my side without you touching me. It is the spiritual part of a person, Ben. Yes, that makes sense. Charlotte, you made a statement that embarrassed me. You said, I know that you love me, even though you may look like a 10-year-old. I have never experienced before what I did when you loved me. I guess age does not really count that much. I have never felt love radiate from a girl as it did from you when you hugged me. It was the most wonderful experience in my entire life. I hope I am not embarrassing you. No, there is nothing to embarrass me, and I value your honesty. I do love you very much. You should understand that love has nothing to do with a sexual relationship. It doesn't. It is not, in fact it is sort of in opposite directions. Sex is an urge, desire or need, it's sort of as needing to go to the bathroom or being hungry, but love is extreme care. I would never have a sex relationship with anyone except my own husband, yet I would do almost anything within my power to see you happy again. Sex drive is detrimental to true love. Sex has nothing to do with love any more than being hungry for a good meal. I would never trade my love for sex, I would be shortchanged. By Ben's expression, he is deep in meditation. Let us walk on up to the log. Okay. In silence they walk up to the log, and Ben straddles the log, and Charlotte sits side saddle so she can see his face when they talk. After a few minutes Ben speaks. I will never be able to get back the other half of my life now, I realize I never had one. When my parents brought me here this morning, my life felt like I had been waiting at the gates of hell. Now it seems as if I am getting ready to enroll in heaven. This is not a religious school, Ben, and I am no angel, nor is my friend. I realize that, Charlotte, but what I have learned so far, it seems to me as if it may be greater than all of the religions put together, and you are more precious to me than an angel. You really think so, Ben? You don't need to tell me about your past since you will be enrolling in heaven. If you would like, you can just close the book. No, if you would not mind hearing, I would like for you to know, then I will close the book. No one else needs to know. That is very intimate, it gives me a great feeling, Ben. I truly would like to hear about your past, the disaster part. That may be all we have time for now. Okay, all four of us were to attend a special party. It was Joe Jared Brown, my close friend, his girlfriend, Sally Swanbloom, my girlfriend, Karen Kate Dorman, and I. I had picked Joe up first and we headed for his girlfriend's place. I was driving my BMW my father had bought me the week before. Ever since I had picked Joe up, he had been bugging me to open it up to see what it would do. I told him my father trusted me and I could not let my father down. Joe kept saying he will never know, just this one time. I said okay, just this one time. It really laid us back, our speed jumped to 90. I jerked my foot from the accelerator. I never realized it had such power. I couldn't do it. It didn't matter if my father would know about it or not. It was a foolish thing to do. As soon as Joe realizes what I had done, he said chicken. It was not a chicken, it was a big buck deer. I jerked the wheel, but I shouldn't have, as it would have been better to hit that deer broadside. I don't see how it could have happened with me strapped in the seat as I was, but it threw me out of the car. I was unconscious for several hours. When my ears and brain began to work, I learned that Joe had burned with the car. Not being able to see was bad, but what seemed worse was the way I let my father down. I was so distraught I wanted to die. It was hard for me to face all my friends. They said I might as well have shot Joe with a gun. I was not about to make any excuses for myself. I knew better than to listen to Joe. I shouldered the blame. I would not tell my parents anything. It would make my father feel worse if he thought I was trying to excuse myself. It really does feel like I killed my best friend. I cannot see it as they do because it was not intentional. To top it all off, when Karen came to the hospital and learned that my eyes would not work, she just yelled damn and other words I don't use. Then she begins to cry as she was leaving the room. She called me the next day and she told me she was sorry but she would not be seeing me, she needed to start a new life. Then I wished that I had stuck my foot in the carburetor and hit that buck deer at 180 and killed us both. I am so grateful that you didn't, Ben. Karen is very foolish and ignorant. She will hunt the world over and she will never find a friend as precious as you. Swan was a great comfort to me. I never did call her Sally. She came to visit me in the hospital. She told me that she did not agree with what everyone was saying about me killing Joe. She said she knew me and she knew Joe. She knew I was not that kind of a driver. She knew Joe had pushed at me or I would not have driven like that. I didn't tell Swan what really happened. I told her that it was truly my fault. I knew better anyway. Charlotte gets up, takes Ben's hands, and gives him a tug. We should go. His answer is a nice smile and they start down the trail. Maybe Swan was not as good looking as Karen, she had the most beautiful personality. I have always loved Swan. I would never have interfered in their relationship. I know Joe loved her very much, he chose her happiness over his. I know Swan was very upset when Karen dropped me as if I were poison just because my eyes would not work. At the time I really could not blame Karen. What kind of a life could she have in the shape I was in? Swan didn't agree with me, she thought it was the lowest thing anyone could do. Ben, in Karen's place would you just walk away like that? Ben stops and he turns to Charlotte as if he is scolding her. Charlotte, you know I could never do that to anyone. I was not accusing you, Ben. You did not disagree with Swan as you said you did, you were not honest with her. Ben looks embarrassed, he doesn't speak for a while. I am sorry, Charlotte, I realize you were not accusing me as you say, it was dishonest of me but I did not realize it then. I doubt that you realized it at the time, but in her way Swan was telling you she loved you very much and she would never treat you like that. She thought you were stuck on Karen's beauty and that you had no awareness of the inward beauty she possessed. Ben is silent for a long while, he is deep in thought. Charlotte, I have been a first-class idiot. I realize now from being with you that Karen never loved me. I was just giving her a good time. I would not have walked off from her as she did me, but I am not sure I loved her when I put sex and love in their proper perspective. Now the way I see it, we were just using each other. It was a convenient relationship. You are right about Swan, she understood Karen's and my relationship. Joe's and Swan's relationship was strange. Swan and Joe would not kiss on the mouth. Joe made me aware of this at the start of his dating Swan. Joe was very much in agreement with Swan about the kissing, which seems strange to me. The reason Swan would not kiss in the mouth, she considered it was too much like having sexual intercourse. She thought it was unsanitary anyway. I have always wondered if Joe knew he had a bad disease. He did sleep a lot. The way he loved Swan, he may not have kissed her on the mouth even if she had allowed it, if he knew he had a bad disease that she might contract. He would do anything to make her happy. It always bothered me when Karen and I kissed. Deep down I knew Swan was right. Swan is a very wise girl. I would never think of kissing anyone except my husband like that. Under some conditions you could contract some bad diseases. I realize that now, Charlotte. I was really blind back then. I was all wrapped up in what I thought I was enjoying.